Okay, hey yo, what's going on, guys? This is your girl D Brady, and you're now tuned in to Liquid Era. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and supporting. Obviously, we have reached 200, well, over 200 downloads now, which is super great. We are growing our creative community. So, obviously, like I said, the last episode, that this month for Women's History Month, we are going to be dedicating this month to women in the entertainment slash music industry, celebrating them, getting an honest feel and education on their journeys and how they got to be where they are now, from all walks of life. So I love reading and I love learning about their stories from entrepreneurs, CEOs of different companies who from like way like Def Jam and Rock Nation and all those different things. So I love learning about it. So I really wanted to take it to this podcast. So if you guys want to hear more stories or want me to reach out to anyone who you're inspired by, you guys can email me at liquidera6@gmail.com, or you can DM me on Instagram, liquid_era. So today we have our special guest, Meaghan Taylor. And before we get into interviewing Meaghan, I'm going to kick it off with a little bit about Meaghan and her community, supportive community, Women in Radio. So Meaghan is not only an on-air personality at Miami's #1 hit music station, Y100, but she is also the founder and CEO of Women in Radio. So Meaghan started her radio career at our alma mater, FAMU, where she became an on-air personality for WANM 90.5, of course. With her growth and hard work during her super long, not super, but long journey within the radio community. In 2016, Meaghan decided to create and build a support system for women within the industry to not only help each other advance in their careers, but it gave women a safe space to speak out and talk or ask questions about their experiences. So each year, Women in Radio hosts an event where not only women, but men all over, just everyone comes to network, learn from the panelists, and more. The next upcoming event will be this weekend, March 7th, in Atlanta, Georgia, with panelists such as Lori Flowers, Benny Powell, Monica Barnes, and so much more. So, Meaghan, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good, girl. How's the event planning going? Because I know it's coming up this Saturday.
Yeah, I mean it's going. Events can always be just tricky and a little stressful, so it's going, but it's gonna go well on Saturday, so I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm gonna be there, so I'm super excited because I love Atlanta. So yeah.
Same.
Before we get into the interview, I like to do a quick icebreaker where I ask you 2 to 3 throwback questions. It can either be based on shows or music. You don't know about it yet, but you'll know when I see the questions. So let's test your knowledge. So,
Oh God.
so number one, which band formed first, NSYNC or Backstreet Boys?
In sync?
Nope, Backstreet Boys. Backstreet Boys, I believe, came out, I want to say, in 93, and then and then NSYNC came out 95. So,
What?
yes, girl. I hope I said that right because I can't go back. So, number two, what is the name of a hit show whose main character was Steve Urkel?
Family Matters.
Yes. And number three, which was Aaliyah's first single, Back and Forth or Age Ain't Nothing But a Number?
Age ain't nothing but a number.
Back and Forth. Why now you know better than to choose the R. Kelly song, child.
That's why I thought it came out first.
It's back and forth. So that was the liquid trivia. You got one out of the three right, which is still good. So claps for you, of course. So we're gonna get into now. We're gonna get into Meg's journey and some questions behind the scenes of her career. So, the first question. So we know the foundation of the platform, Women in Radio. Supporting women within the music industry, radio, even women from labels follow as well. But
Mhm.
what was your aha moment that made you want to create this platform?
I think my aha moment was just when I was feeling lonely, because I didn't have many friends in radio.
Hmm.
Um, so that was my aha moment, just trying to build a community, which is something I didn't have when I was in school.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely feel you on that because when I came into like the label part, well, I joined Women in Radio while in college and it was
Mhm.
awesome. Obviously, I got into WANM 90.5 as well, and it was off rip like us brand ambassadors just continuously talking about our day, our struggles, and all that stuff. And
Mhm.
then going into the label, it was totally different because I thought, I'm like, well, I'm gonna have a support system in the label too. And it's just like, no, you're alone because it's a small label. And everybody was just like, it was only like two other people working there. And everyone
Mm.
was already in their corners doing what they had to do. So
Mhm.
at that point, I'm like, okay. So I didn't know what to do. I'm just sitting there working. And then till my boss is like, yeah, you're not bringing anything to the table. So if I don't see anything in like a month, you got to go. I was like, what?
What?
Yes. I was like, what? And I was like so scared. So I just started taking like tips and stuff that I like learned from FAMU, like public
Mhm.
relations tips and stuff. And then I just started implementing it and just went hard. And that's how I was able to like stay. But if not,
Mhm.
that support wasn't there, like, yeah, no.
Mm.
I was
Oh,
about to leave. Um,
right.
but number two, I saw this question on Twitter from Natasha Viana, and a lot of women was answering this question. She asked, "What's the worst unsolicited career advice you've ever received?"
Just go back to school.
Like, get your master's?
Yeah. I try to tell people all the time I barely made it out of school. People think I'm kidding, but I'm very serious. Yeah, so I think that's the worst because, like I said, I barely made it out of college. So going back to school probably wouldn't be a good idea, and it would feel more like giving up on a dream. But that's what most people were saying before I actually got my first job in those first few months after college.
Okay, so they were just saying like go back to school because you didn't have anything.
A job, yeah.
Okay. I think a lot of creatives get into that motion. Like a lot of people is like, okay, well, that was one of mine. My backup plan was to get my master's if I did not get into
Mhm.
the label at all. So I guess that gives you like more time, I guess, to figure it out.
Okay.
But if school not for you, child, don't rack up the
Right,
loans.
exactly.
So, as a woman in the music industry, walk us through a distinct moment where you had to establish setting a boundary with a coworker or anyone um, as a woman.
I think I feel like a lot of people just try to waste time.
Mm,
I've honestly never had any guys at my job come on to me, but they have tried to waste my time with pointless meetings or pointless conversations or even just being petty.
mm,
And it seems like guys may be more catty in this industry than girls are because they just do really petty things sometimes. And you'll just look at them really like, oh, you're supposed to be a man. This isn't it. So,
like
yeah, but I mean,
catty
I have
or
never had
petty.
any like, hmm?
catty or petty? Like, as in, like,
Yeah.
an example, like how?
Like just like at the smaller station I worked at when I first got my job, like there was literally only one recording room, like because it was just so small. So this guy would just go in there and just take all day,
Hmm.
and he would do it on purpose. And the our boss, who was a woman, had to like go in there and like yell at him and let him know. So just like petty things like that.
Hmm.
Um, and it happens all the time. Or like at another station I worked at, I was the only woman there, and like the guys would go to events on the weekend, like industry events on the weekends, all together with like the station vehicle, and wouldn't invite me. Just
Hmm.
things like that I feel are petty.
Do you feel like that's like an initiation, like you know how, like, when you get into gangs, or I don't know how to get in a gang, I don't know about that life, but as like initiation, kind of, when you, I guess when you go into a sorority or anything like that, you have to do things in order to prove that you're supposed to be there.
Yeah, but I think that's hella whack. And I try not to say this, but sometimes I feel like there's like two different types of radio people. There's the people who were like freaking nerds in school, and now they're just like back with a vengeance because they're on radio. And then there's just people who are just like regular and like radio.
Mhm.
So it's always like a clash because they think you're somebody who thinks they're better than everybody else, but so they like try to get you back with their power. It's
Mm,
weird, but I find that happens a lot in radio.
mm. That makes sense. I think that does make sense. There's a
It's
lot
like
of
Revenge of the Nerds.
there's a lot of men that I've came across working at the label, where after a while, like, their demeanor and things like that is just because they're a man. When they walk into a room, they can automatically gain respect. But when you sit
Mhm.
down and have a conversation with them in a meeting, it's like, you what, like, how did you get here, or how,
Right.
because, and it just doesn't make any sense. But because of who they are and their gender and stuff like that, it's easy for
Mhm.
them to pretty much do that type of pettiness or say certain things that can, if you're not wise enough, or not, you won't catch on, it'll go over your head, and they'll continue to play you.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
for the creatives or anyone that wants to be an entrepreneur, what advice would you give someone wanting to become, or is just now starting the process of becoming an entrepreneur?
I would say stay patient. A lot of things aren't gonna happen overnight unless like you somehow go viral. um, So stay patient. I mean, I see people give up all the time, and I feel like they have great ideas and they just don't have the patience for it to watch it happen.
Mhm.
So good things take time.
Definitely, definitely. You started Women in Radio in 2016. We're in 2020. 2019 was a sold out event as well, which was
Mhm.
awesome. And I know that that wasn't your first sold out event either, but at the same time, I think that was your first event outside of Florida, the New York one.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, just taking that leap of faith and continue to fight through all the struggles and stuff, like, definitely, definitely, I understand that.
Right.
Keep going. So,
Exactly.
thank you, Megan, for dropping some gems, dropping some knowledge on us, and and sharing some tips with us. We definitely want to continue this series on women and their journeys for Women History Month. Obviously, Women in Radio is having the Women in Radio event this Saturday, March 7th in Atlanta, Georgia. Get your tickets if you really want to go and meet and network some great, amazing people. Megan, where can they find you, and where can they find Women in Radio on social media?
Yeah, they can find us on social media. My personal account is at Meg Talks. That's MEAGTALKS, and then Women in Radio on Instagram, WOMENIN Radio.
Yes. And you guys, like I said before, email liquiderror6@gmail.com, liquiderror with the number 6 at gmail.com. If you have any thoughts, questions, or anyone that you would want me to reach out to interview, just let me know. And also follow Liquid Error on Instagram at liquid_error. And we out. Bye.
Yeah.